Yo, what is going on, guys? My name is TamezTech and welcome to a brand new video. Today we are still in the Jungle Cup, but we are trying out a pretty fun team. Honestly, I built this team because I don't really care about climbing right now. I'm a little bit busy with personal stuff, so I kind of just wanted to have fun. I wanted to try a Pokemon that I wanted to play and not really worry about being super competitive or not. Surprisingly though, we still went pretty positive on the day. I believe we went again 14 and 11. So I guess we're staying pretty average, but regardless, we are trying Shadow Gyarados in the lead. This Pokemon is absolutely crazy in the Jungle Cup. I would say it's one of the most strong Pokemon in this cup. There's really not a lot of electric types. I've seen like one Heliolisk, I've seen a few Stunfisks, and I would say maybe that's about it. Maybe a few Magnetons if people are crazy. But yeah, we are pairing this with a double ground backline. Diggersby as a safe swap, really wouldn't recommend this. Honestly, I ran it because I wanted to be strong into Scizor and I wanted to be strong into electric types. I ran Diggersby as a safe swap to bait out grass types and at least do a little bit of chip damage with Fire Punch. You're going to see that work out against a few Gyarados actually, so that's pretty decent. And of course we have Stunfisk in the back to kind of clean up whatever was weak to ground, and as well as get rid of those Scizors if they somehow escape the Gyarados and the Diggersby. But yeah, without further to say, guys, if you do enjoy the content, please make sure to subscribe, like the video, and leave some comments down below. Let's get into these battles. All right, first battle of the day, we got Altaria lead. This is definitely amazing. Altaria is one of the most dangerous Pokemon for our backline, and it's such a common Pokemon in this meta. So even using Diggersby as a safe swap, at least we can bait it out and make sure we can get rid of it so that our Stunfisk can be free. My opponent swaps into Toxapex, which actually we did see a decent amount of Toxapexes today, but I just don't think it has played this meta. So they bring it in. We do farm up a bunch of energy on Diggersby. We have back-to-back Fire Punches on them. My opponent is able to save the Toxapex, but it doesn't really matter, right? We have another real hard answer to Toxapex with Ufisk, so we don't really have to worry about that. I'm going to overfarm with my Gyarados here. We did have a bunch of energy banked from before, so if my opponent wants to shield this, that is totally fine by me. I think at this point, I'm just going to let Gyarados go and get a sick farm down with Ufisk here. My opponent actually has a Lanturn in the back, and all that energy that we saved on Diggersby is going to come back and help us quite a bit here. We can go for the double Mud Bomb. I can survive a Surf pretty easily, but I rather shield a Surf instead of a Brine, right? So I will shield the Surf since it's the most damaging move left in the game. We actually combo with Diggersby here, and my opponent makes such a weird play. They actually let this go fully, which is super weird to me because, I mean, they just lose the game on the spot. Thankfully, we are still going to win this game. We have so much energy, my opponent just can't get rid of it. And Ufisk is not in Surf range, so I actually undercharged this because I want to take energy on my Ufisk, be closer to the Mud Bomb. My opponent realizes, and yeah, they just top left there. All right, on to the next battle. Another Altaria lead. Dude, these were everywhere, absolutely everywhere. I understand that it's a really safe lead, but oh my god, please pick something different. Anyways, we do land the first crunch, and this is perfect. I can just overfarm quite a bit here, throw the Aqua Tail before they get to their next move, but my opponent is thinking differently. They're actually going to bring in Pangoro here, and this does make it a little bit tricky, right? I'm going to throw the Aqua Tail just to get a shield, and I'm going to bring in Ufisk. Honestly, if Pangoro throws a close combat or something, that's totally fine by me. I'm going to throw this Mud Bomb early because I want to land this damage. I know Pangoro doesn't want to shield a move before it's debuffed, but something tells me this Pangoro doesn't even have close combat. My opponent makes a really nice catch. They actually catch on Altaria there, but this just gives me farm on my Gyarados, so I'm not super crazy sad about this happening. My opponent actually has Scizor in the back, and I'm hoping that I can get to the back-to-back Aqua Tails here, but unfortunately, I don't think we're going to be able to. We kind of need a DRE there, but that is totally fine. We have Diggersby in the back. We just have to watch for a catch, make sure we don't get caught on. They do go for the Trailblaze, and that does crazy damage, but my opponent did have a move banked here, so this does get a little bit scary. I'm going to bring in Ufisk, though, and this is going to force my opponent to throw energy either into the Ufisk or into the Diggersby, but they can't get enough energy for both, so we are able to still win this game. Got to think on your feet in these games for sure. On to the next battle here. We got a Lanturn lead. This might look really bad, but it's actually a very, very good lead for Gyarados, especially because Lanturns just bait all the time, so you don't even have to shield. Togekiss comes in and we throw the Aqua Tail. I only throw this chip damage because a Discharge plus the Thunder Shocks will not KO Togekiss. They will still get to 2 moves. So if I can force them to shield before I have to, then that's going to be a good play. They actually bring backing the Lanturn, which is totally fine by me. I'm a little bit worried it might be a flyer in the back, but I'm hoping that since I still have a lot of HP on Gyarados and 2 shields, then we're good. But it's actually a Gustlord, and honestly, Gustlord is a very tricky Pokemon for us to deal with as well. Thankfully, my opponent hard pivots into this Pokemon, so we can bring in Gyarados here, and they have the least amount of energy possible. At this point, I feel like Gyarados has done its job. I kind of just need the shield on Diggersby. I actually misclick here, and I click my Stunfisk. Thankfully, we're still able to get to a move. And I guess my opponent reads it as Gustlord being really strong in the back, but they're not. So, very, very thankful that worked out for me. Because if we didn't get to a move on Stunfisk, I'm pretty confident we just lose this game. But yeah, I just accidentally clicked on Stunfisk there. I was a little bit too desperate to like click my Diggersby, and I click on the rock side, but it doesn't matter. We are able to take that game regardless. On to the next battle here, another Lanturn lead. I'm telling you, dude, it's Lanturn or Altaria, and there's no in between. I was thinking of running Lanturn lead, and then I saw Henry posted the Lanturn video, and I was like, I don't think I want to do that anymore. I don't know who would have picked to lead Gyarados instead of Lanturn, but honestly, I guess it worked out pretty well. We do shield the Surf. My opponent catches on Altaria, and dude, I love it when they do this. I mean, if I needed Pokemon anywhere, it's going to be against my Gyarados here. So we are able to force a shield here, and honestly, I've put them pretty close to discharge range, so if we take 1 or 2 flamethrowers, honestly, I am completely fine with that. My opponent actually has Moonblast, which means that they're not going to be able to get to another move against us before we knock them out, so that's pretty cool. Lanturn comes back in, and they're just going to get KO'd by this Mud Bomb unless they shield it, but they don't. And it's a Scizor in the back, so this game is practically won. My opponent doesn't even throw energy there, so I can just pivot into Diggersby. I got the shield, I can throw the Fire Punch, and that's going to incinerate that Scizor, and we take that game. On to the next battle here, Gyarados Mirror. Honestly, I played this one pretty poorly. I should have just stayed in with my Gyarados and put in as much work as I could into their own Gyarados, but I try to go for a cheeky catch, and it doesn't really work out because of course they're just going to throw Aqua Tail here, right? I'm a little bit traumatized about losing Cacti. A lot of my Shadows lately have been losing a lot of Cacti, so I just didn't want to play to that. I'm a little bit sick of it. And unfortunately, it's going to come back to bite me here because they swap in a Piloswine into my Ufisk. I throw the double Mud Bomb, but they're just able to farm me all the way down here. And I just don't see what I can do here. I bring in Gyarados just to sack it. I'm going to bring in Diggersby, and I'm hoping that I can just quick attack this all the way down. Unfortunately, Altaria is still quite healthy, so I think I might need quite a bit more. I mean, Gyarados is still quite healthy, so I might need quite a bit more than just a Fire Punch here. So I'm obviously going to have to take an Aqua Tail here. I throw 4 quick attacks and the Fire Punch. It doesn't knock out, but thankfully my opponent was still 1 Dragon Breath short. But it is a Clodsire in the back, and honestly, we win this game if I play it just a little bit better. If I just stay with my Gyarados, we are able to win this game, but unfortunately, it was just not meant to be. And we actually get the Fire Punch bait there, but my opponent will just safely go for the Earthquake, knock us out there. And honestly, a very winnable, very close game, but unfortunately, our Diggersby just did not have enough HP there. Alright, on the next lead, we see Galarian Moltres. Honestly, a very fun looking pick as well. I kind of want to try and run this in the next couple of days. But this Galarian Moltres is actually running Ancient Power, which is very, very scary. I was trying to go for a catch there on my Ufisk, as you saw, but I couldn't get it, so I'm just going to commit to the full farm down here. They bring in Oranguru, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw 2 Dragon Breaths and swap. That way I avoid taking the confusion damage, right? So keep that in mind. I have a little bit of energy on my Gyarados. My opponent brings in a Meowscarada. They let the Fire Punch go, and I'm thinking, man, I feel like I have to shield this, right? Because if I shield this, I can kind of just put in more work into that Oranguru, and it's not like my Euphis can farm down this Masquerada anyways. The Oranguru comes in, and unfortunately, they're just going to start boosting up a lot here, right? So I have to get to 2 moves on Euphis. I bring in Gyarados. Very cheeky play. I bring in Gyarados. I try to do 2 Dragon Breaths and swap. But unfortunately, if you look back at the video, we actually lag a turn on entry. So I'm forced to only do 2 Dragon Breaths instead of 3. And yeah, that's just going to cost me the game here, because as you can see, we are 1 Dragon Breath away from the Aqua Tail, and my opponent farms us down to get the move, and that's going to be unfortunately a GG for us. Very close game. I guess I'll blame it on the game not working properly, but it doesn't matter. Amazing opponent in the next battle. We see Martogalde, and he is RPSing us with a Magneton in the lead. He brings in a Razor Leaf Turtwig into our Diggersby, and this is looking so dire. Martogalde, if you didn't know, it was a top finalist at the World Championships, and he has won millions of regional tournaments. This guy is absolutely cracked. He's going to cap tie us on the second Fire Punch because he is a master at counting, I bet. But I'm just going to come in with Gyarados here and farm all the way down. I'm going to farm a little bit more with Gyarados. He brings in his back line, and it's a Mantike. So extremely based baby team by Marto, but thankfully we were able to take that win. I'm not going to take too much credit for that because that team is definitely very spicy. All right, another Lanturn in the lead. Once again, I don't really mind this. And honestly, at this point, I'm considering no shielding a Surf because they always bait. It doesn't seem like I do it this game, but I definitely do it in one of these games. I'm just going to go for the double crunch here because I know this is going to knock out. And I'm just a little bit scared of letting Gyarados go because sometimes there can be really scary Pokemon in the back line, and I don't really want to only have ground types available. I throw the Aqua Tail into this Fortress, and they actually shield it, which is really weird. I'm just going to bring in Euphis here. If they swap out, we have Diggersby for them, so it's kind of fine. Euphis should be able to put in a little bit of work here. My opponent is just going straight Sand Tomb, which is fine by me. We actually get the cap tie here, so that's great. I'm just going to pivot into Diggersby now, and it's actually a Talonflame in the back. So honestly, I wish I hadn't pivoted there, because we would have been in a pretty good spot if I pivoted into Talonflame instead. I mean, into Gyarados instead. But regardless, we are able to get to the double Scorching Sands here unless my opponent throws more energy, which it looks like they will do. This should knock us out, but we still have quite a bit of health on the Stunfisk. At this point, I feel like it's more of a battle of fast moves, but my opponent makes a really weird play. They actually bring in Fortress to try to bug bite us down. And I'm realizing, yeah, this is just about fast moves. I don't even need the charge moves. So I throw 1 Electric Shock into the Talonflame and then farm down with the Gyarados. All right, another Fortress lead. Honestly, I don't love this lead. Fortress usually has very problematic Pokemon in the backline for me. It does look like 2 Aqua Tails KO, but of course they're going to debuff us, so I'm just going to pivot here. My opponent actually Rock Tombs and then brings in Cradily. I feel like that's a very severe misplay. I don't really remember if we win or lose this game, but I feel like that's just a waste of energy, right? Diggersby can't really flip the Cradily matchup unless you go down a bunch of shields and bait a bunch and whatnot. So debuffing me there, it's kind of just giving me a chance to burn the clock, bring in my Gyarados, maybe get a shield or 2. So yeah, very weird play by my opponent there. And as you can see, they're kind of miscounting here. They let me get to a second Aqua Tail. And again, I don't know why they threw their energy on Fortress, because Fortress would be really threatening right now. Regardless though, they do have a Lanturn in the back, which is pretty good. I'm going to bank an Aqua Tail there, just in case I can use it later for the other Pokemon, the Cradily. And I'm just going to go straight Mud Bomb here. I don't care if they catch on their Cradily, because if they do, I can just knock it out or farm it down. And here is that catch. But once again, I'm just going to fully charge this, and I'm still going to get quite a few Thunder Shocks out of this. Almost a full move. So yeah, we get the move here. We're able to get to the crunch on our Gyarados with all that energy we banked before. And we should be able to take this game very comfortably here. So that is a GG to my opponent. We actually get a 3-ball flex there. Very cool. On to the next battle here, and what do you know? Another Lanturn lead. Holy moly, people are getting creative. All right, so we are throwing the crunch, obviously. I don't think I got a single crunch debuff today, which is absolutely nuts. But I guess we have to just accept that. And yeah, here's the no shield on the surf. Stone cold, baby. I mean, they're never really going to throw Thunderbolt, right? I don't think they even have that move. Once again, my opponent catches on Altaria, and I think that's totally fine. I feel like the crunch, chip, and dip is going to put them really close into double discharge range. So hopefully I can get that done. I will overfarm quite a little bit more here because I know the next discharge is not going to knock out quite yet. So I want to make sure I overfarm a little bit and then throw the move when I know it's going to knock out. And we still have energy for this Lanturn. This Lanturn's going to get knocked out by this Mud Bomb. So if they don't shield it, it's 3v1, baby. And it's a Pangoro in the back. Unfortunately for my opponent, my safest win con here is just to stay in, threaten another Mud Bomb, burn their energy, and then I just bring in Diggersby. If they want to knock me out, they have to close combat, and they'll just permanently debuff themselves for the rest of the game. So at this point, I just don't think there's a win con for my opponent. They actually let that Fire Punch through, and yeah, that's just a GG. Someone in the chat did mention most Pangoros in this meta are running Night/Rock Slide. So I guess this game was already won even from the start, but even if they did have close combat, we were in a very comfortable position there. All right, on to the next battle here. We got Gyarados into Talonflame. Not a great matchup, to be honest. My opponent brings in Dunsparce, and as you can see, it takes me quite a little bit of time to swap out. I do have this pet peeve where normal type Pokemon, there are so many meta Pokemon that are normal type, so I couldn't tell if it was a Furret or if it was Dunsparce, like you can see, or a Licky or something. So yeah, if it was a Furret, maybe I would have chipped and dipped first or something, but it wasn't. My opponent actually saves the Dunsparce, and they bring back in the Talonflame, and then they just sack it. And I'm like, okay, well, I mean, I don't mind giving up one of my shields to have a 3v1 against the last Pokemon. And there it is. There's the Licky. So I guess it wouldn't have mattered if it was Licky or Dunsparce. I kind of have to get out of there because of the fast move pressure. But I was really expecting it to be a Furret safe swap. But yeah, regardless of what this Licky does, Body Slam is not even going to knock out here. So this energy is kind of just being wasted. Maybe they're on Shadow Ball. I'm not sure. And my win con at this point is to just no shield whatever they throw into my Stunfisk, right? If they have Solar Beam, so be it. I can still get to 2 moves, and my Diggersby can still get to another move as well. But they actually bait. I call the bait, and that's a GG. On to the next battle. Here we got a Gastrodon lead, and this is an amazing lead. Oh my god, I love it. They actually swap into a Clodsire, and I bank an Aqua Tail and swap into my Diggersby. Diggersby has such an insanely, dumbly good matchup here. It is crazy. You do not get knocked out by 2 Earthquakes. 2 Scorching Sands put in more than enough work here. So I'm just going to make sure I can throw this Scorching Sand right away before this Clodsire can save itself. And if that Gastrodon wants to come in and farm us all the way down, it can be my guest, but it's going to have to take a Scorching Sands. And we did bank a bunch of energy on Gyarados, so hopefully this can put them a little bit closer into Aqua Tail range. I'm going to bring in Gyarados, and I'm going to throw 2 and the move, just to throw on proper timing here. Unfortunately, that doesn't knock out yet, but I can hard pivot here because this Gastrodon is not going to get to a Water Pulse. My opponent actually hard pivots as well, and they bring in a Gustlord. This is honestly a little bit scary. Gustlord is really tanky, and I have to land 2 Mud Bombs into this thing if I want to have a chance of winning this game. So I land the first Mud Bomb, I throw the second, and they do shield this move. So it's getting a little bit dire here. I'm going to throw right here. We actually are able to throw on good timing because Stunfisk spacing is kind of ridiculous. I'm going to bring in Gyarados here. I'm going to shield, and I'm just going to cap tie. I know this is very risky because if they snipe with Gastro and I knock out the Gastro, this game is practically lost. But if I can cap tie the Gustlord here, we're in an indefinitely good position. My opponent actually Sludge Bombs and stays in to get a Dragon Tail, but we're able to Dragon Breath the Gastrodon at the last second, and we are able to take that game. It was so insanely close, but that is a GG. Decent lead in the next match. We got Scizor. Honestly, we have played to Scizor with our entire team, but right back. Scizor has play into our entire team as well. I'm going to bring in Diggersby here. I don't want to shield my Gyarados just yet. And if there is an Altaria, I would like to bait it out. My opponent actually stays in with the Scizor, so I'm able to force a shield with a Fire Punch before I get fully farmed down or whatever. They actually bring in Furret here. I wish I would have been a little bit more careful about the catch there, because I would have liked to go for a Scorching Sands, because now I have to bring in my Gyarados, shield, go for the Crunch, and hope that it knocks out or puts them low enough that I can farm them down with my Ufisk. And this is the first Crunch debuff we get all day. My opponent should get knocked out by the second Thunder Shock, but if you look at the top right corner, they actually do not get knocked out there, which is really, really scary. And depending on their last Pokemon here, I think we're going to have a very rough time. We're able to get rid of the Scizor immediately because we know they have a bunch of energy, and it is an Altaria in the back. I'm trying to overfarm quite a bit here. Honestly, I should have thrown my Discharge immediately to burn the clock and maybe get to a move on Gyarados. Thankfully though, we are able to force energy out of my opponent with our Gyarados here. But yeah, this is just looking a little bit dire. My opponent throws a flamethrower here and it's going to put us in the red, which is really scary. I'm going to throw the Discharge and I'm going to watch for a catch, but my opponent makes a really decent play. They just don't catch. They know that if they just keep tapping their screen, I'm going to get lower and lower and maybe Furret can take the KO. Thankfully, it is a tie, so we don't lose too much elo with that game. But yeah, very smart play by my opponent there. All right. Yeah, we see Wigglytuff in the lead. That's very scary. I'm going to bring in my Diggersby and throw the Fire Punch right away before they get an Icy Wind debuff. And my opponent actually shields that. That is such a trip to me. I don't understand why you would ever shield that there. Honestly, I feel like we had almost no play into this Pokemon, but then they shielded that move, and that is just so weird. They also throw energy super early here. I only would have gotten a Fire Punch, so I mean, I will take it. I'm gonna bring in Gyarados here. I should have thrown my Aqua Tail immediately before they got their move, but oh well, we will get a little bit more farm here. I will throw one Dragon Breath and the move just so I don't take that extra charm. It's going to be a Stunfisk in the back. So this is getting a little bit tricky, right? I'm going to bring in my own Stunfisk. Thankfully, we do land at Aqua Tail. And I'm just going to throw my Mud Bomb right away. I don't want to take any more damage here. My phone actually over taps there. If you're looking at the screen, I'm actually tapping Mud Bomb and it doesn't get clicked. So we play to a cap tie. Of course, we lose it. And there is a Corviknight in the back. So this game would have been a lot easier if the game worked as intended. But that, unfortunately, it didn't. I'm going to bring in my Gyarados here. I did land a Discharge, which is really decent. And I'm just going to hope that my opponent miscounts, right? If I can get to 2 Aqua Tails here, maybe I can have some play. My opponent, for some reason, no shields that first Aqua Tail, and then they shield the second one on the cap tie. So I got extremely lucky here, honestly. To be fair, I didn't need it that second Aqua Tail anyways. But yeah, very weird play by my opponent. I feel like you just always shield either the Discharge or the Aqua Tail. There's not really going to be too many other moves anyway, right? Regardless though, we get another Lanturn lead. I feel like it's maybe 45 Lanturn leads this video. Jesus. Regardless though, we do see a Fortress come in and we have a really decent answer with Diggersby. You could argue that I should have gone for an Aqua Tail just to put them into single Fire Punch range. But I feel like I can play this a little bit more efficiently. I'm going to throw a Fire Punch, and I'm not going to cap tie here. I know my opponent wants me to knock them out as soon as possible, so they're going to throw the Sand Tomb as soon as they can. And if I can overfarm a little bit more, but still considering the switch clock to knock out that Fortress, I can still get to a Scorching Sands. And if anything, this Lanturn's going to get even less farm because I'm so debuffed. I do hard pivot into Gyarados here. I know I can tank a Surf still, and I'm just going to instantly throw this Crunch. I don't really care if they catch it or not. I know it's going to do decent damage into everything. And it is a Scizor in the back, so thankfully we are going to be able to win this game. We do just enough damage with Dragon Breath that we put them into a single Mud Bomb or Discharge range. And yeah, that's going to be a GG. That is the end of the battles. I do hope you guys enjoyed these battles. Once again, I don't think this is an amazing climbing team, but I did have a lot of fun with Shadow Gyarados. This thing is stupid quick and it outputs a tremendous amount of damage. So if you're seeing too many Altaria leads, I would definitely recommend you run this Pokemon. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please leave a like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Check out my socials. I have a link in the description below where you can join my Discord server. You can follow me on Instagram, check out my Twitch live streams and my TikTok or Twitter. But yeah, I will see you guys in tomorrow's video, and take care.